Okay, so my name is Ben, and I'm the head of admissions here at DLD College. As is the case with other schools in the UK, students are for the most part studying online at the moment, but we do still have boarders in the college who are living upstairs. Still, it's half term this week, so students are having a much well-earned break. So the college is reasonably empty at the moment, but I will be showing you around all of the facilities here. I'm currently in the global kitchen, which is where the students eat, and I'll show you around in just a second. Unfortunately, there's no food out at the moment, but the food is fantastic here, and I'll talk a little bit more about that shortly. So before we get started, DLD College was established in 1931, so it's actually our 90th year this year. So we're very well established, but we've been in this building for 6 years now. And this building was only built 6 years ago, so purpose built for us as a college and a boarding house. There are 4 levels of college, and we have 15 floors of boarding, offering over 200 rooms for students. And we have a mix of both day students and boarders within the college as well. So I think without further ado, I'm going to start showing you around. We'll start with the global kitchen, move into the atrium, and then I'll go and show you some of the classrooms in the college as well. Okay, if at any point you can't hear me, please do let me know just in the chat box. And there will be one point during the tour where I will cut out. That will be when I go into the lift to go into the boarding. When I do, just bear with me. I'll be a couple of minutes and I will log back in to the webinar once I get into the boarding. So it will be like magic. I'll be at the bottom of the escalator and then I'll reappear in one of the boarding rooms within a couple of minutes. Okay, so let me show you around. So firstly, behind me, you may notice some lovely artwork on the walls here. And this artwork is COVID related artwork. So during the first lockdown period, the DLD College became known as the beacon of hope. So opposite the college, there is St Thomas's Hospital, which is where our Prime Minister Boris Johnson was treated for COVID-19. In the college, we had boarders at the time who just either decided to stay or couldn't get home. And a campaign was started by DLD to receive pictures of rainbows from children. And these pictures were sent to DLD College, and our students put these pictures all over the college. We had, in the end, over 3,000 pictures of rainbows in the college during the first lockdown. So from the patients from St Thomas's Hospital were able to see those pictures of the rainbows all around the college. It was a really proud moment for us. Not only did it give the students something to focus on during that first lockdown period, aside from their studies, but it also, like I say, it was a really, really proud, quite emotional moment for us as a college as well. Okay, just to quickly show you outside, it's a very gloomy day today. We are fortunate enough, where we are in London, we're right in the heart of London, opposite Westminster and the Houses of Parliament. We are fortunate enough to have our own outdoor space. And over the first lockdown period, there's been more investment going into the college, and we've created our own outdoor area, which is the multi-surface pitch out there, which you can see, the blue pitch, as well as a study area. So this was created over lockdown, and it was opened by international footballer Sol Campbell around May time this year. So this is a place where students can go during their lunch breaks, but it's also where some of our students have their co-curricular activities, of which we offer many, and I will talk about that as we go round. The global kitchen itself holds 62 people at the moment at a time, and it's all set up for social distancing, as you can see. We do have a maximum of 62 at the moment to make sure that we are adhering to COVID guidelines, and safety is very, very important here at DLD. Talking of safety, we have 24-hour security at the college as well. So students do feel safe, and then we have swipe-in key cards and fobs to be able to get into the building as well. Now, my favourite part of the college, we have our own coffee shop, which is the Grumpy Mule, where students can get pastries and snacks and drinks. But then we also have our global kitchen, which is where our boarders and our day students will eat every day as well. Students will receive breakfast, lunch and dinner, and that's included within the boarding fees as well. And it's something different every day. And in fact, it's something different from lunchtime through to dinner time as well. So there's absolutely no chance that a student will have the same meal for lunch and dinner. There's always 3 options. There's vegetarian options as well. And of course, if any students have particular dietary requirements, then that will be met by the chefs as well. One other important thing is that students often give the chef suggestions of what to make. So if we have a student coming from Korea and they suggest that the chef would cook something like yamyang chicken, for example, then the chef will happily put that on the menu and give that a try and offer it to all students. So that really plays into the multicultural atmosphere that we have here at DLD. Okay. So we're now going to move into the atrium, and bear with me, I must wear my mask around the college. So I'm sure you'll still be able to hear me, but please do let me know if you can't. So the atrium is the heartbeat of our college. There are many hearts around at the moment because we've just had Valentine's Day. But just to give you a panning shot of the atrium, this is where the majority of our events take place. So aside from what you'd expect from any college, like assemblies, we have other events here as well. Those events include university fairs. So once a year, we will invite the universities in, where students for year 12 and 13 and our International Foundation Programme students can meet with universities, find out a little bit more about what those universities have to offer, and just to help them make that right decision for their next move into academics. The type of universities that we invite, there's lots of London universities, but we invite Russell Group universities from all over, and it's a really, really good event when it's on. This year was obviously remote, but next year we are fully expecting to hold that face-to-face again. Now, you can probably see all the different flags around me here. And those flags are changed every year based on the students that we have in the college. So at the moment, we have 303 students at DLD College. And of those 303 students, there are 56 different nationalities. So we're a really, really diverse community. Of the 303 students, we have 76 British domestic students, 42 Chinese, and then a mix of many of the other 54 different nationalities across the college, including 66 Russian speakers. So, as I say, really, really international community, and something that we're extremely proud of. Now, if you or one of your students or your son or daughter was to join DLD, then there are other opportunities outside of your studies. So we have our student council here at DLD, and this is the current student council for this year. So I think there's around 14 students that take part in the student council, and there's an opportunity to become the head boy or head girl of the college as well. This is something that we really value here at DLD, because outside of what students are studying, it's also very, very important that they take part in other co-curricular activities or other things that play to their strengths for when they're doing their UCAS statement. When students do their UCAS statement, obviously the universities want to hear as much about their academic achievements as possible, but they're also looking for what else have they done outside of their studies, and that will really boost their profile and boost their application, particularly when they're applying to Russell Group universities and top Oxbridge universities as well. We'll talk a bit more about that as we go around. So I'm now on the first floor of the college, and this is where you would find our principal, our vice principals, and our directors of studies, as well as my office, which is just down in the corner there. The setup here at DLD means that if you were to join the college, you will have your teachers for your academics, but you will also have assigned a personal tutor and a director of studies. The personal tutor is someone that students meet on a daily basis. So for registration, they will see them every day. And there is one session per week on a Tuesday, which is a longer 40-minute session within a group. And students will have the opportunity to speak to them either as a group or if they need to, one-to-one on a one-to-one basis. And the personal tutor acts as a kind of mentor during your stay at the college. Will help support you outside of your studies, is another person to talk to, but will also make sure you're making those right decisions. Aside from that, you also get assigned a director of studies, and the director of studies will assist with any pastoral concerns that you may have, but also they help again with your academics, and they help you make the right choices. So for example, if you wanted to change your course or you needed some extra support with one of your subjects, then they will facilitate that and make sure that you are receiving all the support you need to be successful to get to that university destination of choice. Okay. Now we have 2 floors of classrooms, and we're going to go and have a look at some now. But before we do, I want to show you our UCAS board, which is a snapshot of where some of our students have gone on to in previous years. So you can see from here, we've had students go to King's College, Imperial, we've had students also go on to universities in America and Canada as well. So there's a huge amount of opportunity here and a huge amount of choice when it comes to your universities. And we do find that some students have a very clear direction of where they want to go, but some are not sure. So it's really important for us that we give that correct advice to make sure you get to that right university and be on that right course. We have a UCAS officer in college as well, and the UCAS officer will help with personal statements, particularly those going to Russell Group universities. He is an Oxbridge graduate himself, and he will help with the personal statement for if you're applying for Oxbridge, but he's also extremely knowledgeable about universities in America and Canada as well. So if you're looking to go further afield, and if your parents let you go further afield, then that's also something to consider, that we have that specialism here as well. Okay, let's go and have a look at some of the classrooms. So firstly, I'm going to show you the art department. And as we walk around this corridor, you can see that we have lots of artwork on the walls. None of this has been purchased. This is all done by our students. And so they've done a really, really great job of decorating our college. And art is something that we're really proud of here. Our head of art used to work at Central St Martin's University. So he's really knowledgeable, but also most importantly, very passionate about what he does. And just to show you some of the artwork within the classroom, we have 2 studios here. You can see some of the kind of artwork that some of our students have done. And here are some self-portraits that some of the students in year 13 have done this year. So really, really high level artwork here. Okay. And then you can see, because we also offer GCSEs, there's some year 10 artwork here as well. So students can study art at GCSE as well as going on to A levels and on the foundation programs as well. So we accept students from age 14 through to 20 to study one of those subjects. We have our graphic communication department here. And if we have a look in this classroom here, you can see we have all the latest iMacs on offer. So all of the facilities provided, we have state-of-the-art facilities, but also the equipment available to students is also state-of-the-art and the most modern, to make sure that they are getting exactly what they need and the support that they need there. Just a very, very quick talk about the lockers. And the reason I'm going to tell you about this, and I'll make it short because lockers can be quite a boring subject, but I did a webinar back in the summer, which is something that we do every year, which was with our student council, our current student council, and it's with students who are signed up to join us, and an opportunity for them to meet some of the students who are already here, find out about their experiences. During this webinar, it was an hour long. We spent 40 minutes answering questions about lockers. So I'm going to tell you exactly what was said in those 40 minutes, but I'm going to do it in 40 seconds. So there are lockers throughout the building. They are color coded, so it makes it really easy for students to know where they are. The lockers have a code system on them, so they can put their own code in, which means it's nice and secure. You can leave your bags in overnight, and you don't get a assigned locker while you're here. And the benefit of that is if you have classes all over the building, then you can move things to and from different lockers, so it's easily accessible to you. 40 minutes, 40 seconds. Okay, we offer photography here as well. So our art department's really, really strong here at DLD. Lots of opportunities, and we also offer fashion at International Foundation Programme level as well. This part of the building is known as our Wellbeing Centre, and it's a bit of a go-to area for students. So we have our student services over here. We have our college nurse over here, who's a full-time nurse on site. And we have our college counsellor over here as well. So again, outside of academics, there's a lot of support around for students if they need it. This is also acts as a study area. So there are multiple study areas around the building. As you can imagine, within a student's timetable, particularly A level, they will have some free periods during their time, but they should be using those to study. So there's multiple study areas around the building. Now they are quiet study areas, and I'm very pleased to say that students do respect that. But this particular area is a group study area. So if students are working on a presentation, then they can come here and freely talk without being told off. I'm going to show you our staff board here. So the reason I'm showing you this is it really sums up the atmosphere that we've created here at DLD. So it's very much a college atmosphere, and we very much are preparing students to go on to university. And this board is an opportunity for students to write nice things, only nice things, about their teachers. And it's to really create that positivity and that connection with those teachers as well. So you can see some really, really nice messages here. Even my name's mentioned up there as well, which I think a member of staff wrote that as a joke, but that's a different story. We have a very relaxed atmosphere here. There's no uniform. Teachers are on first name terms with students as well, but I don't want that to be mistaken for a relaxed academic atmosphere. That's not the case at all. We do have our rules in place. We expect a minimum of 96% attendance, and actually 100% attendance is what we would expect for the most part. And we expect students to study and use the time outside of their lessons to make the most of it and really reach their full potential, which is something we do pride ourselves on. Students that come here, we have students from mixed abilities come to DLD, but what we would say is that we really, really help and support those students to reach that maximum potential. Okay, show you a classroom on this floor, and then we're going to go upstairs and have a look at the maths department and the science department as well. So just have the light come on. This is one of our film and media classrooms. And Within a classroom, they're all different sizes. We have some rooms which are very much for one-to-one study, one-to-one teaching, and we have some slightly larger rooms. This is an average size room. Average class sizes of DLD are around 8 to 10 in a class. And as you can see, everything's set up for social distancing here. And we have this big building here, which is Waterloo Station. So very, very accessible, very easy to get to and from the central stations here at DLD as well. So in terms of students that wish to go out at the weekends or traveling home in the evening if they're a day student, we've got Waterloo Station, which is literally next door, as you can see. And we've got Westminster Tube Station just over the bridge. So really, really easy to get around London and see the sights, or if living off-site, getting home. There are 55 classrooms in total around the building. And I'm just going to walk swiftly through here, and we're going to go upstairs now. Before we do, I'm going to show you quickly an example of one of the study areas we have here at DLD. So as I mentioned, these are dotted all around the building. They're in the slightly different, they look slightly different depending on which study area you're in, and they're first come, first serve. What I find is that you'll see the same students in the same study areas. So they're kind of, creatures of habit, where they will go back to the same study area. And as mentioned previously, they are quiet study areas as well. This a little bit dark today, but this is one of our biggest areas. So again, right in the heart of the college, we've got a big study area there. And then if we look down, you can see the atrium. Before we go upstairs, I'm just going to show you up. That big glass window there shows above the building, and that is where the students live on those 15 floors of boarding. So we will go up there shortly, and I'll show you the rooms and I'll show you the views as well. Please do ask questions if you have any as we go round. Alternatively, if you wish to wait to the end, that's absolutely fine, but I'm happy to answer questions as we go round as well, okay? Okay, so second floor of the building. This is much more of our maths and science-based floors. And before I show you the maths and the science classrooms, I'm just going to show you our E-Hub. And the E-Hub, just to show you this here, is very similar to one of our classrooms, but it has some really nice, funky chairs here. They are extremely comfortable. They might not look it, but they are. We've got a big screen here as well. And this room is used for students who have presentations to give, but we also invite lecturers from some of the top universities and also staff members from some big companies like Disney to come and present to students and talk to students. So similar to this webinar today, we had a representative from Disney give a talk on media for our media students. This was just before Christmas. And this room was used as a way of viewing that webinar for the students, and as they're all together, to ask those questions. So that's really important to us as well. It's not just about what you study on the curriculum, it's about what can you gain outside of the curriculum to enhance your studies. So we have a full co-curricular program here at DLD, and the co-curricular can be anything from sport to drama to music. We have chess club, we have the debating society, we have a film society, we have DLD productions, which is students are able to make a radio show. But aside from that, we also have academic societies, and every teacher is involved in either an academic society or a co-curricular activity in the college. Now, the academic society, as I mentioned, might not necessarily completely be directly linked to the curriculum, but it's a way of students enhancing their understanding and their knowledge. And academic societies take place once a week in the different subjects. So that's a real benefit of being at DLD as well, is that you have additional knowledge, support, and understanding outside of your lessons as well. Okay, so this is our maths corridor here. Maths is one of our most popular subjects in the college. So as I mentioned, the average class size will be about 8 to 10 students in a class. But for really popular subjects like maths and economics and psychology, you may have up to 15 in a class, but we never go above 15 in a class. So if there were 16 students, they would be split into 2 classes, for example. Just going to show you outside, as I mentioned, very, very grim day. But this is this is the Park Plaza Hotel here. And then over the way, you can see just in the distance, that is the Houses of Parliament. So that's how close we are to the Houses of Parliament here. Very, very central. You have the London Eye just behind the Park Plaza building here, and the South Bank as well, which is home to the British Film Institute, London Sea Life Centre, various markets, shops, everything you can imagine really is there. So this is literally on our doorstep, and that's something that's very unique to DLD and does set us aside from maybe your traditional boarding school, where they may have vast fields for the students to roam about in. But our fields is London, and for those students that want that city and cultural experience, this is the best place for them to be, because they're right in the heart of it, and they can access those galleries and museums and the BFI Institute and everything you can imagine. Okay. We're in another classroom now, and I'm just going to take a seat and talk to you a bit about the online learning that we've been through this year. So obviously a very different year this year, and we went into our first lockdown back on March the 20th, 2020, and obviously because we have such an international community, many students went home if they could, and some students decided to remain. But all students started online on the 23rd, which was the Monday, and they started online studies, and it was really quite a smooth transition into online studies. Now, the reason for that is, and this is something that we had pre-coronavirus, and it's actually worked out to be a real benefit for us and for the students mainly, is that we use Microsoft Teams for our online study. And we also have a platform called Canvas, which was used pre-coronavirus. Canvas has been really, really useful, because if you imagine our Chinese students, they've gone back home, and towards the end of the day, those last couple of periods are at 11 o'clock at night in China or Vietnam or Korea or Japan. And to expect students to be logging in at 11 o'clock midnight every day for their studies, it's quite a high expectation now. Now, Canvas works really, really well because it allows the teachers to upload a video with any instructions, or the work for that lesson with any instructions for the work. And the students can then download that work, upload their work for the lesson and any homework. So for those last couple of periods in the day, and students that were on a very, very different time zone, they could get their attendance mark by completing the work through Canvas. So that was a massive benefit for the students to be allowed to do that. And it took a little bit of that pressure off. Now, let's hope, and I think we all hope, that things will be back to normal in September, and we'll be back here for face-to-face lessons completely. But there's a possibility there might be some restrictions in place. So the good thing is, if there are restrictions in place, or if students have to isolate, or even if students are sick, just in general, then the good thing is they can be safe in the knowledge that they have the ability to access all of the work and complete all of the work through the platform that we use. So like I say, let's hope we are very much back to normal, and I think we will be by then. But it's good to know that we've got that backup if we need it. Okay. This is a better view of the bridge here. So you can see a few London buses going across the bridge. And yes, Westminster is just over there. We also hold our graduation ceremony at the Houses of Parliament. Again, different this year, it was online, but in normal years, the graduation ceremony will take place in the Houses of Parliament, which is fantastic as well. Okay, we're going to go round to our science labs now, and I'm going to show you those. So science, really, really popular subject here as well. We offer physics, biology, and chemistry at GCSE A level, and we also have our biomedical science international foundation program as well. So, okay, so chemistry is here, biology is down there. We have 7 labs in total, and physics just around the corner there. We have lots of students who wish to study medicine and have that ambition. So again, very small classes, around 8 to 10 in a class. All of the latest state-of-the-art facilities in the science labs as well. Students have the ability to do all of their practical assessments for their A-levels, as well as obviously the coursework and preparation for the exams. We also have our MedSoc Society as well. So I mentioned earlier the academic societies we have here at the college. MedSoc is one of those. And we also enter students into various competitions as well, which again helps boost that UCAS personal statement. We also have science-related co-curricular activities, and this is something that again is really important to us, that you don't have to be doing the subject to get involved. So for example, in previous years, we've had robotics club, where students who have that keen interest in robotics can join up and learn more. Like I say, you could be studying arts, drama, and history, but still be involved. And likewise, if you wanted to be involved in the drama productions, which in normal times take place once every term, students can be involved. So whether that be on the acting side, or it could be on the technical side, so the lighting or the set design or the costume design. So it plays quite nicely into those students that are studying art to get involved in those subjects. Now, none of the co-curricular activities are, none of them are, you don't have to do those, but the opportunities are there for you to get involved. And if you are studying maths and science, but want to do a little bit of acting, you fancy yourself as an actor, then you can get involved. We also have a DLD band as well, who have performed previously. You can see some of their performances on YouTube. So like I say, we just really want to emphasize that there are lots and lots of opportunities here outside of your studies as well as within your studies. Okay, great. So I think now we've seen a good snapshot of the college now. And I think it would be a good idea to take you up to the boarding house. So as we're walking towards the entrance to the boarding house, which is within the building, the only college in London where we have the boarding within the college. Just to give you a bit of a summary of the number of students we have, day students versus boarders. As I mentioned, we have 303 students at college at the moment, of which 169 of those students are boarding. Now, they're not necessarily here right now, but they have been here at some point over the last academic year. So yeah, we've got a nice mix of both day students and boarders, so around a 60-40 split there. The students really like boarding here at DLD because everything is on site, meaning that students can easily get to classrooms in the morning. So there's no commuting or anything like that. But also there's quite a lot of freedom here as well. So again, we have our rules, but we want to treat students as much as possible like adults and give them that responsibility. So there are curfews in place, and depending on the age group, the curfew does differ. So I believe it's 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. for the younger students and 11 p.m. for the older students at the weekend. So if students wanted to go out and visit some of the museums or go out for dinner in the evening, then that's absolutely allowed. And they just need to speak with their house parent and get that signed off. So students that live in here, it doesn't mean they're in here all the time. There are opportunities to go out and see the sites. You're in the centre of London. We want you to see and experience that culture. But for those students that are staying in, and it's particularly in this last year where we haven't had access to as many of those cultural activities, there are plenty of things going on in the college. So aside from what you've already seen, we've got the ping pong table there, we've got the chess set, got a pool table over there as well, and the piano. Students have many things going on in the evenings as well. So it could be that we've got, they might be film nights or quiz nights. There we have the gym and the swimming pool underneath the college as well. So I forgot to mention that. We do actually have a gym and swimming pool on site, which is available to students over 16. It's not open at the moment, so I can't show you today, unfortunately, but it's in normal times, again, accessible for students. So if you have students that are particularly into fitness, then the gym is there for them to use, and it's just underneath the college. Okay. So I'm going to cut off in a minute, as I mentioned. What I will do is I will jump into the lift, and it will take me just a couple of minutes to come back to you. And once I'm up there, I'll be logging back on, okay? Okay, I'm back. Great. Didn't lose you for as long as I thought. Okay, so boarding at DLD. The main thing to tell you is that all of our rooms are, as a standard offering, are single ensuite rooms. So as you would find at maybe some other schools or colleges, they may say you can have a single room, some of which are ensuite. The majority of our rooms, the vast majority of our rooms, are single ensuite rooms as standard. We do have some twin rooms available, and that's for students who do want to share or do want to pay that little extra, that little less for a room as well. But our main offering are single ensuite rooms. Now, the room that I'm in at the moment is on the third floor, and we have some rooms that are inward facing and some rooms that are outward facing. Often we will get students who specify that they would like an outward facing room or an inward facing room. We will try and meet those requirements as much as possible, but it does depend on the split of the floors. So we have students that are split on girls and by gender and also by age group, and that's for a safeguarding reason, and that's the most important thing to us. But the good thing is you do have options. So we have 4 room types in total. We have our single ensuite room, which I will show you in just a second, and that's the room that we have most of. And we also have our premier rooms. Now there's 2 choices of premier room. You can have a room with a view, which is a slightly bigger than the single ensuite room, and it overlooks the Houses of Parliament. Or if you're like my wife, then she would likely opt for a room with more space. And that's the room I'm in at the moment. So just to show you quickly, this is known as a premier room with more space. And this is something that you can choose at the point of booking and confirmation. So outside here, this is an internal room as well, looking into the building, but you still have some light coming in from over here. And as you can see, it's really quite a spacious room here. Lots and lots of space. So if you are bringing a lot of luggage, then maybe this would be the best room type for you. All of the rooms, regardless of size and room type, will come with a desk and chair. You have your bed, which has a nice thick, high quality mattress on. You have your underbed storage, overbed storage. You have a nice deep wardrobe here as well, so plenty of room to fit all of your things. And then your own personal toilet and shower room as well, okay? So we really are proud of the rooms that we have here. And I think a real benefit for students is that you know, if you were in a school where you're sharing with 4 or 5 students, it's very difficult to get that private space that you need. Students have the luxury of both here. So they can have their own room like this, but they've also got a huddle room, which I'll show you in just a second, which is basically a kitchen lounge area where they can mix with the students as well. So you get a really good balance of both privacy and the opportunity to socialise with your peers as well. Okay. So before I go into the huddle room, I'm going to show you our single ensuite room, which is the standard room I mentioned. And you'll see that it's not much different to this room. The good thing is that you have all of the same facilities within the room. So you have all the same cupboard space, the same type of bed, but it's just a little bit smaller in terms of the size of the room itself. So bear with me a second. Let's open this door. Okay. So as we walk in, you can see it's slightly smaller, but you do have the desk and chair. You do have the over bed storage. You have the under bed storage just down there, and then your deep wardrobe, and of course your toilet and your shower room. Okay. As I mentioned, we also have twin rooms and rooms with views as well. Very difficult to show you those today because we have some restrictions on where we can enter at the moment. But to give you a quick overview, as mentioned, the premier room with a view, it's slightly wider than this room, so a little bit more floor space, but you have that view of Westminster. And the twin rooms, they are basically like this room, but double the size, and there is a wall in between. That wall can be pulled across, so you can have more social time with the person you're sharing with, or you can close it off if you want some privacy. So the wall does move, and the toilet and the shower is shared in those rooms as well. Okay, so as I mentioned, the room I'm in right now, that's the main room that we have, and the most rooms that are available are this type of room. We have some premier rooms, and then we have a few twin rooms as well. Okay. Now, these particular rooms are unoccupied at the moment, so they look a little bit bland, let's say. But when students come to us, they have the option to decorate their rooms and their huddles. So the huddle room I'm going to show you now is this one. It's a really nice, spacious area. And this will be in normal times shared between around 12 students, 10 to 12 students. Okay, this is where students in the evenings will meet with their house parents, who will be assigned to them at the start of the year, and that house parent will remain their house parent for the whole duration of the academic year. So there's a registration period at 9:30. Obviously, if you've arranged to go out, then you will not have to go to that registration period as long as the house parents are aware. And it's a place for you to socialise. So on some of the other floors, it's the case that there's computers in there, there are guitars, and they're decorated as well. So, for example, the younger girls floor has a flamingo theme at the moment. So there's flamingos everywhere around the room. This one isn't decorated because it's not currently in use. But it's a really nice space. And like I say, you get that privacy and you get the social element as well as a really nice balance here. Okay, and these are the kind of views that you can have here in your huddle as well. So on a much nicer day, these rooms are really nice and bright, and you can see the shards just in the background there as well. Okay. So that gives you an overall view of the college. And now I would like to welcome some questions, but also if there's anything else you'd like to see again, please do let me know. So please feel free to go ahead and ask any questions you may have. Any questions at all? Sport. Okay, so the sport that we offer here, we have netball, football, basketball, boxing, yoga. We have the multi-surface pitch outside, but as you can see, it's quite small. So we use Archbishop's Park nearby for training in those team sports. And the good thing is that we've got the space really, really close to the college, so it's just 5 minutes away. But if it's some small training drills, then we can use the multi-surface pitch. For boxing, we use the studio downstairs in the gym, as we do the same for yoga as well. And in normal times, we have the football matches against other colleges. So we've played against Dulwich College in the past, for example, as part of our schedule over the year. So yeah, so is it an open space for football and netball? Yes, Archbishop's Park is a huge space, really, really close to the college, just 5 minutes walk down the road. And that's run by, the football team is run by our head of co-curricular, Sean, and the netball team is run by Jess, who is also our biology teacher. The minimum age for boarding, it's 14 years old. So we take students from GCSE year upwards. Thank you for your kind words, Zarana. Okay. Any other questions today? Okay, free time. So free time at weekends. Again, in normal times, there will always be something going on at the weekend. So that could be a visit to one of the cities outside of London. It could be Brighton or Cambridge or Oxford. But we have lots of events going on in the city as well. So it might be the fact that students have the opportunity to go and watch a professional basketball or football game. They could go to the theatre. So we get special rates on theatre trips for group bookings. And you'll be encouraged to get involved in that as well. And museums, art galleries, etc. Now, that's something that happens every weekend when we get back to normal times, hopefully in September. And so there's always something to do. So if they were to go to Cambridge, it would depend on the number of students that are signed up, but they could take a coach or a train. If there's a big group, more likely that it's a coach. If it's a smaller group, then they'll take trains, but they will be accompanied by a member of staff, to keep them safe. So that's the most important thing for us. Security in boarding. We have 24-hour security in the college. So it's, that's completely covered. Students will get something similar to what I'm holding here. So this is a fob. This allows students to get into their rooms, their specific room, and onto their specific floor. It doesn't give them access anywhere else in the boarding house. So really, really nice and secure here. We have house parents that live on site as well. So for each house parent, they look after 2 or 3 huddles. So between 10 and 30 students. The students register every evening. And we also have something in the college which is called Reach. And this allows us to know when students are in and when they're not in the building as well. So something we take extremely seriously. Safety is absolutely paramount to everything that we do. Meals. So meals there's 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch and dinner. Breakfast starts at 7 AM. Then for lunch, we have a 3-hour lunch service, which is quite a long service. And the reason for that is, particularly now, we have to have a staggered set of lunch breaks, and students will always have a free period within the 12 till 3 period for lunch, so that they can go and get their lunch and have that. It's 3 courses, which is a salad or soup, plus a main course, which is always a vegetarian option, and 2 meat options, plus a dessert. And that's the same for dinner as well, which starts, I believe, at 6 o'clock. Just to go back to free time just a minute. So If you're taking GCSEs, you'll have a full schedule from 8:55 through to 4:55. If you are doing A-levels, you'll have some free periods in the middle. Now, on the timetable, it will say, some of those periods will say study, and some of them will be blank periods. The blank ones are actually just to show you that you do have some free time. The ones with study written in them, they're effectively the same thing, but it's a reminder that you should be using that time effectively for your studies. So, for example, you have, for each subject, you'll have 4 double periods per week. So each double period is 1 hour and 20 minutes. So 4 of those per week of study. You're expected to do self-study outside of that for the same amount of time each week if you want to be very successful, okay? With your homework, the teachers will help you do it, and many of the teachers have an open door policy. So if they're not teaching, then you're more than welcome to go and sit in their room and study in their room and use them to ask questions if you need it. But they're also as you get closer to the exam time as well, you'll have after school revision clubs, and of course you have the academic societies. Even outside of online study during the coronavirus, students have access to Teams and to Canvas. So that means that the teachers are accessible all the time to ask any questions. So a hell of a lot of support around for them. Okay. Any other questions? No? Okay, more about curfew. So yeah, curfew at the weekends is 10 o'clock for under 16s and 11 o'clock for over 16s. So that's for students that wish to go out to go for a meal, or if they're going to see a show. We would expect students to go out with other friends. So, you know, to make sure they're very, very safe. And because we have the 24-hour security and also the house parents sit downstairs just outside the lift, then if they will monitor the students as they come back from the curfew. If students are out later than the curfew, then of course mobile numbers are shared. The house parents tend to have WhatsApp groups set up as well. And as soon as that time goes over that curfew, if that happens, then they'll be on the phone to find out where you are. Okay, but if you're going out of an evening, then the house parents will want to know who you're going with and where you're going. Okay, but it is very free. You know, you do have, we have to bear in mind that we are in the middle of London here. So safety is paramount for us, very, very important. But we do also want you to experience London as well. So it's about getting that balance. Okay. Any other questions today? If you don't have any other questions today, then of course, sometimes naturally you'll think about things later on. Please feel free to contact me, and I'll be happy to answer anything, or contact your regional sales manager if necessary as well. I hope that today was useful to you. What I do hope for in the future, of course, is to give you a personal face-to-face tour at the college. That's a big part of my job here at DLD, and it's a bit of my job that I really enjoy doing. So if in the near future you are able to come over and visit us, I'll be more than happy to dedicate an hour, a couple of hours to you to show you around the college, show you the boarding, and of course introduce you to some of the key members of staff here as well. That's something that's really valuable on these tours, is that teachers and other staff are always very, very happy to talk to you to find out a bit more in-depth information about those subjects. So I really, really hope I can do that for you soon. Okay, it seems like there are no more questions today. So thank you so much again for taking your time out today. I'm truly humbled that you've taken time to listen to me talk today. I wish you a very, very nice day for what's left of your days. And like I say, any questions, do please get in touch. Thank you so much, and I'll speak to you soon. Thank you. Take care.